What if everything we know about history is wrong? Hidden in the mountains of India, mysterious carvings on ancient rocks suggest a civilization so advanced, it defies our current understanding of history. These incredible designs challenge the widely accepted timeline that human civilization is only 6,000 years old. What secrets are these ancient stones desperately trying to tell us? Join us as we uncover the truth behind these cryptic carvings and explore how they could rewrite history as we know it. India's ancient questions. Let's visit the Grand Lion Gate in the Citadel of Mycenae, dating back to around 1250 BC. These structures have amazed scholars for years with their impressive size and detailed craftsmanship. The Citadel, often linked with the legendary King Agamemnon from Homer stories, was a center of Greek civilization during the Late Bronze Age. The Lion Gate, the main entrance to the Citadel of Mycenae, shows off amazing Mycenaean architecture. A huge stone lintel supports two giant upright stones, forming a gateway decorated with a relief of two lions. These lions, symmetrical and powerful, stand guard, carved from a single block of limestone. This gateway was not only for protection, but also showed power and divine protection. The walls of Mycenae, built without mortar using massive stones, show the Mycenaeans' engineering skills. The term Cyclopean comes from the ancient Greeks' belief that only mythical giants called Cyclopes could handle such huge stones. Across the seas, the Hittite Empire's capital, Hattusa, also displays monumental architecture from around 1400 BC. The Lion Gate of Hattusa, decorated with fierce limestone lion sculptures, was built for defense and to show the empire's strength. The entire city was surrounded by walls, gates, and towers, covering over 8 kilometers, protecting its people and showing the Hittites' power. Both Mycenae and Hattusa's ruins were discovered by early archaeologists, Heinrich Schliemann at Mycenae in the late 19th century, and later by German and French archaeologists at Hattusa. These excavations not only showed the architectural achievements of these ancient civilizations, but also gave insights into their societies, economies, and eventual declines. But the story doesn't end here. Mycenae's decline around 1100 BC and Hattusa's abandonment are surrounded by theories of invasions, internal conflicts, and natural disasters, reflecting the turbulent times that marked the end of these great civilizations. Today, as we piece together these historical puzzles, each site continues to provide more clues and questions about the abilities and reach of these ancient societies. As new evidence comes to light, the stories of these ancient sites continue to amaze and make us rethink our understanding of human history. Even though it caused some debate, the excavation revealed amazing things like gold masks, jewelry, and weapons. These discoveries are linked to legendary figures like Agamemnon, making them very important in Greek mythology and stories. The tales of the Trojan War and the brave deeds of Mycenaean heroes have been told for generations, keeping the cultural history of the site alive. The precise cutting and assembling of huge limestone blocks in the Lion Gate and other Mycenaean structures show advanced skills in stone masonry and design, suggesting that skilled workers were hired to handle large stones. The Cyclopean walls of Mycenae, made of massive, irregularly shaped stones, were named after the mythical Cyclopes, who later Greeks believed built them. These walls were not only strong barriers against invaders, but also symbols of the citadel's strength and permanence. Think about how rare it is to find another site 12,000 years old, built from such massive stones. No other known culture at that time could build like this. Next, we explore Tiwanaku's ancient stone wonders, Sri Lanka's sky-high mystery. Now imagine yourself at the ancient sky fortress of Sigiriya, high above the jungles of Sri Lanka. Picture a towering rock rising 660 feet into the sky, with a palace almost touching the clouds on top. The questions of why and how ancient people built such an impressive structure, including a large body of water so high up, still fascinate us. Sigiriya, or Lion Rock, has a rich history tied to Sri Lankan royalty. The story begins in the 5th century AD as told in ancient records. King Kasyapa, after a dramatic power struggle, took the throne from his half-brother Moggallana and moved the capital to the stronghold of Sigiriya for safety. On this huge rock, he built a fortress and a luxurious palace to show his wealth and vision. But after Kasyapa's dynasty fell, the forest took over Sigiriya, and it was forgotten until 1831 when Major Jonathan Forbes of the British Army rediscovered it during an expedition. His detailed notes and sketches brought global interest, leading to future archaeological explorations. But that wasn't the end of the story. Under HCP Bell's guidance, detailed investigations began, uncovering Sigiriya's complex layout and rich history. This led to the careful restoration of ancient frescoes on Sigiriya's western face. These vibrant paintings, made with natural mineral pigments, show celestial maidens and have amazingly survived the test of time. Their creation method, similar to the fresco secco technique seen in India's Ajanta caves, highlights a shared artistic tradition, though Sigiriya's frescoes have a unique style. The water gardens at Sigiriya reveal an advanced hydraulic system with pools, pavilions, and cleverly designed fountains showing engineering marvels not just limited to the Western world. Similarly, the mirror wall, once polished to reflect King Kasyapa's image, has over the centuries become a canvas for visitors' inscriptions, giving us a glimpse into the thoughts of ancient travelers. The choice of Sigiriya's location, its natural defenses, and the integration of the surrounding landscape into its design, including boulder gardens and terrace gardens, show a deep understanding of blending architecture with nature, much like the ancient city of Machu Picchu. As we explore Sigiriya, from its defensive moat and towering walls to the peak where the royal quarters once stood, the ingenuity and effort in its construction continue to amaze us, highlighting the incredible capabilities of ancient civilizations in adapting their building practices to their surroundings. Building Sigiriya under King Kasyapa took a lot of workers, and maybe even elephants, showing how many resources the king had. Like Machu Picchu in Peru, Sigiriya is a famous structure built in a tough location, yet both show an amazing blend of design with nature. Machu Picchu, located between mountain peaks with its terraces and well-planned zones, is similar to how Sigiriya mixes perfectly with its surroundings. The large amount of materials moved and the precise construction of Sigiriya make it a great example of ancient planning and engineering. Sigiriya wasn't just a military stronghold, it also symbolized royal power and divine rule, with its strategic defenses, luxurious living areas, and beautiful gardens. These features made it a significant cultural and historical landmark in ancient Sri Lanka. But this wasn't the only impressive ancient site. Tiwanaku near Lake Titicaca in Bolivia also amazes scholars. Some archaeologists debate its age, thinking it might be less than 2,000 years old. But its impact is clear. From around 300 AD to 1000 AD, the people of Tiwanaku achieved great things in architecture and engineering. They created complex farming systems and had vast trade networks across South America, making them an important pre-Columbian culture. The construction techniques at Tiwanaku show a highly skilled civilization. Their massive stone structures are so precisely built that they still impress modern engineers. The Akapana Pyramid, which looks like a sacred mountain, is a prime example. It's about 16.5 meters high and covers an area of 200 by 250 meters. To prevent water damage, they built an advanced drainage system with stone-lined channels and underground conduits to manage rainwater efficiently. From Sigiriya's art to Tiwanaku's stone mastery, our exploration continues. The timeless mastery of Tiwanaku. The pyramid's terraces were made with large stone blocks and compacted earth, cut and assembled perfectly without mortar, showing the builders' great skill. These structures were not only functional, but also had deep religious and cultural meaning, reflecting how closely the Tiwanaku people connected with their environment. But Tiwanaku's wonders don't end there. Early European accounts, like those from Spanish conquistadors in the 16th century, describe the ruins as grand and mysterious, sparking centuries of curiosity. By the late 19th century, detailed studies began. American archaeologist Ephraim George Squire documented the site in 1877 with thorough descriptions and drawings. French explorer Charles Wiener also added to the knowledge about Tiwanaku, setting the stage for more discoveries in the years to come. The Tiwanaku civilization, thriving in the Andes, ingeniously moved massive stone blocks using wooden sleds. These sleds, guided by strong teams of workers, likely slid over logs placed to help them move. Without large animals to help, the strength of organized human groups was crucial. The workers used simple tools like levers and ramps, similar to methods used in building the Egyptian pyramids. Some experts think that the nearby Lake Titicaca might have been used to transport these stones. It's believed the stones were floated across the lake on rafts and then pulled overland to their final spots. The workers also built earthen ramps to gradually lift the stones to the right heights, requiring careful planning and a lot of labor, much like other ancient civilizations. The precise way the stones at Pumapunku were cut and put together is often compared to the masonry in the Great Pyramid of Giza. Both sites show amazing craftsmanship and alignment, suggesting advanced engineering skills. This similarity hints that both the Tiwanaku and the ancient Egyptians might have shared advanced construction knowledge, although exactly how they did it is still being studied. Across the sea in the Mediterranean, the island of Sardinia has another fascinating example of ancient ingenuity. The island has over 7,000 standing towers called nuragi, built by the nuragic civilization from around 1800 BCE until the Roman conquest. These towers, made from huge stones, show the advanced architectural skills and complex society of the nuragic people. The nuragic civilization was deeply shamanistic and left behind structures that were always part of the Sardinian landscape. They were known to locals but obscure to the outside world until much later. It wasn't until the 19th century that these nuragi began to draw significant academic interest, even though historians like Giovanni Francesco and Francesco de Litella mentioned them as early as the 16th century. Alberto La Marmora, a notable explorer, provided one of the first detailed accounts of the nuragi in his 1826 book, sparking wider interest and more detailed studies. His work, along with others from that time, brought the ancient nuragic towers into the spotlight of European archaeology, changing how we understand prehistory and the capabilities of ancient civilizations. Back in the 1800s, people started paying a lot more attention to the amazing old buildings on the island of Sardinia, Italy. These weren't just any buildings, they were built by a group called the Nuragic civilization. The experts decided to study and keep these buildings safe because they were really special. Among these structures were the nuragi, big stone towers that stood out because of their shape and design. Imagine over 7,000 of these spread across Sardinia, used as forts, religious spots, and homes. They were built way back during the Bronze Age, from around 1900 BCE to 730 BCE. Leaving the Andes behind, Sardinia's old stone towers call to us. The ingenious nuragic stonework. The nuragi are really a showcase of how clever the nuragic people were when it came to building things. They used a method called dry stone technique, which means they stacked up big, rough stones without any glue or mortar to keep them together. Despite this, these towers have lasted for thousands of years. They picked stones like basalt and limestone right from the island, which made it easier to build these structures everywhere. Each nuragi usually had a big central tower and sometimes more towers around it, all connected with walls and narrow passageways. Some even had spiral staircases leading to different rooms inside. Now let's talk about one of the most famous nuragi, Su Nuraxi in Barmini. This one was dug up by an Italian archaeologist named Giovanni Liliu back in the 1950s. It's pretty awesome because it has a big central tower and 4 smaller ones around it, plus a whole village with huts and walls for protection. In 1997, people realized it was so important and well kept that they made it a UNESCO World Heritage Site. But this wasn't the worst part yet. Besides Su Nuraxi, there are other incredible nuragi like Nuraghe Losa and Nuraghe Santuantine. Nuraghe Losa is famous for its sturdy inside and a cool ceiling that looks like an upside-down bowl. Nuraghe Santuantine is huge and has a central tower with 3 smaller ones around it, showing that these people really knew how to defend themselves and plan things out. But the nuragic people didn't just leave behind these stone towers. They also created other amazing spots like the Well of Santa Cristina in Pali Latino. This place is basically an underground temple with a special staircase that goes down to a round chamber with a well inside. The cool part? They cut the stones so perfectly that twice a year, during the equinoxes, the sunlight lines up and lights up the water in the well. And guess what? The well doesn't even get wet in the rainy season, which shows they were pretty smart with managing water. But hold on, the story gets even more interesting. The well they used was probably more than just a place to get water. It might have been a solar calendar, helping them mark important farming or ceremonial dates. This shows that ancient people understood how the sun and stars moved. The Nuragic civilization, famous for their metalwork, made beautiful small bronze statues called bronzetti. These statues, found in many places, show warriors, animals, and gods with amazing detail. The bronze figures often showed carefully designed warriors and sacred animals like bulls, showing the nuragic people's high artistic skill and how important these figures were in their culture. These artifacts give us a glimpse into the past, preserving ancient stories and rituals. Many bronzetti were used in religious ceremonies, possibly as offerings or symbols of gods, suggesting a society with clear social structures and many gods. Another interesting part of the nuragic landscape is the giants' tombs. These are large stone graves with a big central stone and a burial chamber covered by huge slabs. Places like Kodu Vekiu stand out, with a central stone over 4 meters high, meant to hold many people. These tombs not only show their ability to move large stones, but also suggest shared burial practices, reflecting a common view of death in the afterlife. But this wasn't the only impressive thing. Local legends often connect these huge tombs to giants, showing the awe they still inspire. The way these tombs line up with events like solstices or equinoxes shows a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy, which likely played a role in their burial rituals and other ceremonies. This practice of aligning burial sites with the stars is not unique to the nuragic people. Many ancient civilizations around the world did the same, showing a universal practice of mixing burial rites with star watching. From Sardinia to Nubia, our search for ancient wonders leads us to Kerma's Dafufa, exploring Kerma's ancient heart. Looking at the nuragic civilization makes us wonder about other ancient cultures, like the little-known kingdom of Kerma in what is now northern Sudan. Kerma's people built large mud brick structures called dafufas, whose purpose is still mostly unknown. Excavations at Kerma have found a big urban center with a complex society, suggesting it was a major cultural and artistic hub, like the cities of ancient Egypt. The discoveries at Kerma, started by archaeologist George Reisner, have greatly expanded our knowledge of this Nubian civilization. His work showed an advanced society with rich burial traditions and higher artistic skill, seen in the elaborate pottery, finely made statues, and detailed gold jewelry found there. This ongoing exploration into Kerma and other ancient sites continues to uncover layers of human history, showing complex societies that once flourished and influenced areas far beyond their own borders. Charles Bonnet, a Swiss archaeologist, started digging in Kerma during the 1970s, continuing the work of those who came before him. Bonnet and his team found royal burial sites filled with luxurious items like ebony and ivory, showing how wealthy and powerful Kerma's leaders were. The living areas they uncovered were well organized, with different sections for various social classes, demonstrating advanced city planning. They also found grave sites with human remains that suggested complex spiritual practices. These practices might have involved worshiping ancestors or believing in the divine rights of kings, similar to other ancient cultures like the Aztecs. The idea that Kerma shared traditions with other ancient cultures adds an interesting perspective to its history. Kerma's rise to power was partly due to its strategic location, which made it an important trading center between sub-Saharan Africa and the Mediterranean. This location allowed Kerma to control major trade routes, trading local resources like gold, ivory, and exotic animal skins for essential goods like Egyptian grain, wine, and linen. This bustling trade brought economic success and cultural exchanges that shaped the city's growth. Kerma's architecture, especially the dafufa, showcases the Nubian civilization's ingenuity. The dafufa is a massive mud brick structure that has stood the test of time. The structure was made using local Nile mud mixed with straw, which was sun-dried to make it durable. The thick walls added stability and defensive strength. Inside the dafufa, there are 3 main platforms, each serving different purposes, from public ceremonies and elite rituals to sanctuaries for the upper class. The external staircases, a rare feature in Nubian architecture, provided access to various levels, showing a complex internal hierarchy. The dafufa's strategic placement and orientation might have had astronomical purposes, aligning with solstices or equinoxes, like many ancient structures worldwide. The dafufa was not just an architectural marvel, it was the cultural, political, and religious heart of Kerma. Visible from miles away, its towering presence symbolized the centralized power of Kerma's rulers and likely helped with navigation along the Nile. The religious significance of the dafufa, where rituals were probably conducted to ensure the land's fertility and the people's prosperity, was key to integrating the community's spiritual life with its leadership. Comparing the dafufa with the ziggurats of ancient Mesopotamia, shows some similarities in materials and multi-level designs. However, while ziggurats were mainly religious temples, the Dufufa's design suggests it was multifunctional, combining defensive, administrative, and ceremonial roles. This highlights a nuanced approach to public structures in Nubian society, unlike the distinct separation between sacred and administrative buildings seen in Mesopotamia. Switching our focus from Nubia's architectural wonders to West Africa's intriguing landscapes, we find the mysterious Senegambian stone circles. These megalithic sites, spread across northwestern Senegal and central Gambia, cover a vast area and attract both curious visitors and scholars. Made from laterite, the stone circles stand about 1 to 2 meters high and are often arranged in concentric or double circles, creating a striking visual impact. They gained broader recognition in the mid-19th century and were systematically studied in the 20th century, revealing a society capable of coordinating monumental construction efforts. These explorations changed our understanding of West Africa's prehistoric cultures, highlighting their advanced social organization and cultural sophistication. The stone circles, primarily used as burial sites with human remains often found at their centers, indicate a belief in an afterlife and the practice of offering goods to the deceased. This reveals the deep spiritual and cultural dimensions of the societies that built them, significantly contributing to our understanding of human history. Could these ancient societies have been influenced by extraterrestrial contact? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more.